Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 12 of the 200 horsepower challenge here on Comlands with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, it's the next day or the next month, and as you can see, there have been some obvious changes. We now have a farm dog. Lily is her name. Every farm needs a dog, so we have one. I had mentioned in the last episode I was going to order in some gravel. I did, so we've got a nice fresh uh, pad of gravel here in the yard by the house. I put in a little track here across the creek. I was always cutting across anyways, so I added a track here. And of course I graveled some up in here. And I threw a few decorations around the place, trying to give it a bit more of a lived-in look. So hopefully that was mission accomplished. I contacted a plumber and he put in a outdoor water spout for us here, and also found an old sink that we can use to wash up after a hard day's work. And speaking of a hard day's work, after we're done that, put a little spot up here on the hillside out behind the house, put myself in a bench, a nice little fire pit. Can come up here, have a cup of coffee or maybe a sparkling beverage of some sort, and maybe roast a hot dog and watch the world go by. So put that little spot in there so we can sit and enjoy that. Now, I did plow out one of our fields and plant grass. I did this one here across the road. If I can get across here without getting run over by the locals. So this is now a proper grass field. I do need to throw fertilizer on here today, so that's one thing we do need to do. Now, I didn't do the one across the way. One, I didn't have the time. I did upgrade our plow too, by the way, for that, so it's now like 5 meters. And our new old Deutz had no problem pulling that on that hillside whatsoever. But I didn't do this one here because it can be impacted by what's going to go on up here. And that's what we're going to do next. We're going to put in our shed up here. And because of a new mod that came out, I think I am going to move our silo. I can move it down now because beside our shed I was going to put a wash bay, but I'm no longer going to do that. I've got something else in mind. And I'm going to move it down and move it out a little ways so we can get in behind it, so we don't have to back up to load from it. So, but first of all, let's get our shed in. Now, this is a shed I've not used before, kind of in keeping with what I've been doing here, mostly trying to use as much new to me things as possible. We are going to throw this in right here. Now, I kind of want to, yeah, that looks like that's fairly, you know what, I'm going to turn snapping on though, and so when we put other things in, yeah, I think that's close enough. And we will right about there. Is that interfered? I think that'll be perfect right there. Just didn't want to oh, that tree interferes a little bit. I could take and cut that one limb if it ends up inside our building. Let's take a look. No, it's not actually coming through, so that's fine. So there we go. We've got ourselves a shed, and the nice thing about this one, it's got a fuel point here. Now this is a buy point, so it just acts like a gas station, so we don't actually need to bring fuel up. We can just fuel up from here. So cool. So now what I'm going to do, I have a couple things I want to do that are a bit niggly wiggly. Might take a few attempts to get correct. So I'll do that, and then I'll bring you back in and I'll share those with you. So I'll see you in a little bit. Well, there we go. I completed what I wanted to, and basically what I was up to was turning this end of our shop into a workshop. And this is a fairly recent mod that came out just the base game decorative workbench, but they've added a workshop trigger to it. And then I threw a couple other decorative items in here to kind of hopefully complete that feel of it being a used workshop. And that is why I put this building in with snapping, so I could use snapping to get these in. These ones were fairly easy to get in along here, but these guys in the back, they took a little fiddling to reach back in there and get them in. I turned on the interactive zone markers just so you could kind of help you visualize what was going on. And then this new mod came out. This one again is even more recent, and it puts a washer mounts, a pressure washer mounts it on the wall. Now I thought that was pretty cool. And so what that did is it freed up this space in here. Back along here, originally I was planning on putting another kind of wash bay in, or wash station in. But with that wall-mounted one now, it meant I could move our silo down, and I moved it out as well, so it's a drive around for two reasons. Basically, because it's closer now. When we come and fuel up our vehicles, we can drive around, and when we want to load from the silo, we can drive around as well. But it also had a third benefit, is it now allows me to put the cowshed in along this wall here. Before I had to kind of angle it in here in order to have access to all the triggers, but now because we can drive around that, because there's some triggers here right on the end, we can get to them easily. So it means that we needed less space up here, long story short. So I did a tiny bit of landscaping. I moved this wall back just a little bit to give us some more space, and I finalized kind of the smoothing around here, and just a little bit around here where our chicken pen is going to go. It's going to sit right here. So all our landscaping up here is done, which means we are now free to plow out this field when we want and turn it into a proper field. So what I'm trying to decide now is I have just enough money, and I mean just enough, that we could put our silo, which is going to sit in here, and our chicken pen in. So I have not decided if I'm going to do that, or if I'll hang on to it and so we can get our cow pen in, because our cow pen is I thought it was 200,000, but it's only 100,000, so that was a bit of good news. So yeah, I'm just kind of pondering that. So while I ponder that, let's run down. I've got our first doits set up on our grass field, and we can get that fertilized, and I'll think about that. So far, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, and I kind of like it. It's not not quite as a tiered farm like Rusty built on here, Rusty Money Gaming, who's also doing the challenge, but it is still, you know, the farm does have a couple levels to it. But, sneak out onto the road here, so hopefully we don't get hit. Oh, I better turn the crop sensors on before I forget. Now the next grass cutting will definitely allow us to put the cow pen in. You know what, I'm kind of leaning towards, I'll go ahead and throw the silo in and the chicken pen in, although we'll be so short of money. What would that be? We'll have like about $4,000 left. We wouldn't be able to put any chickens in right away, and we'd have to buy feed, but at least that's in, because the next grass cutting definitely will have $100,000 again to put the cow pen in. Our current cow pen is full. We have a few months before the next round of bursts, but should be timed, I would think, pretty close to our next grass cutting, actually. Took us a while to get to this point, but we're finally starting to feel like a real farm now. Oops, fertilizing the road there a little bit. Now the chicken pen, there were two options on the pen I was going to use. One held 400 chickens, and that's where I was going to go originally. But you know what? It's only 10,000 more. I think I'm going to put the 800 one in, and we, like I said, we don't need to fill it, but if we want to, we can. I maybe should have put my little bench up on the top of this hill overlooking the farm, because it's actually starting to look pretty good, I think. Pretty happy with it. I was talking to Jack Sarge, another one of the content creators that is doing this challenge, and I was explaining to him, I am not an artistic person. I don't have an artistic bone in my body, so building up the farmyards and that sort of thing is really not my strong point. But I do like it when they turn out. Of course, I suppose kind of an obvious thing to say. I'm sure everybody likes it when their farm build turns out. I can't imagine too many go, oh man, that is awful. I'm pretty happy with that. Boy, yeah, I have to say, that is a nice view down across there. Now, after this, there isn't much for us to do for the remainder of this month, so um, I think I'll just skip ahead a couple months till we've got grass ready again. Boy, awfully nice and green here for January, I must say. Had no hint of snow so far. I think this is the first time in FS22 that I played without seasons on. So it's a bit different for me. Well, I think we pretty much got this one licked now. There we go. Well, you know what? I think I will. I think I'll put those other two items in, and uh, we'll fast forward then to the next grass cutting. So I will get those placed because it's going to take some messing around with vehicles and that, and I'll bring you back in and show you what I did. See you in a little bit. Well, there we go. There's our chicken coop and our silo in. This is the 800 pen chicken coop, so if we end up filling that sucker up, we should get a fair number of eggs from that, I would think. You can see that took us down to 4,400 bucks though, so we don't have a lot left. This is our silo, a 5 million liter, I believe it was, multi-fruit silo, and it comes with this shelter on the side, which actually turned out to be really handy because our seeder and our plow are too wide to get through the doors of our shop. Everything else is stacked up in our shop right now. Now I realize some of these items you wouldn't probably keep under cover, but seeing as we've got the space, why not? And I just basically needed to get them out of the road. Now they are all washed up. Actually, let's just jump in our old Deutz and take a look. Look at that. We haven't seen it in that shape since the day we brought it home. So that's kind of nice. I had started repairing items and then realized, ooh, I might run out of money. So they haven't been repaired, but they have been washed. So we'll get them repaired and fueled up at some point in the future. Yeah, so I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. This would be the third revision that we're working on, but everyone's been an improvement, I think. And like I said, our cow shed now will just go in here. We need 100 grand for that, but it'll slide in right here along this rock wall. Now I was thinking about expansion, and I'm thinking that if I did some more landscaping and flattened out this way, we could kind of running at an angle here towards the chicken coop from where I'm standing, could put an open shelter for a few more pieces of gear as we do expand. But for now, we're good. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I don't know if you can see. Actually, let's go in construction mode here. If you look at the top of this silo, it has a chair and an umbrella, and it also had a ladder. And I was really hoping we could climb up that ladder and we could stand up there and survey our domain, but no, we can't. And unfortunately, there's no option to fly in console, so too bad. Now, I was kind of looking at where we might put our farm production if we wanted to move it up here, and it actually fits in here really nice. This little spot right here, kind of, angled out like that. But I'm a little concerned it would interact with this silo, so I'm not quite sure how that would work. But I have another spot kind of picked out over here. I could flatten out in this area and tuck it back in here, and it wouldn't affect our ability to turn around in here. So if we decide we want to move it up, we can do that. But for now, it's good where it is. But I think for this episode, I'll leave you there because I'm just going to jump ahead now until we can cut grass. And I'm thinking that I will get that grass all cut, put in the silo, maybe even get it sold when I bring you back in, because that's really all we're going to have to do. And how much grass cutting do you really want to watch? I haven't had much else to do. So I think that's what I'm going to do. For sure, I'm going to get it cut. I may even get it sold off and then bring you back in, and we can be put in our cow shed hopefully at that time, moving cows, adding chickens, some more exciting things than more grass cutting. So with that, I think I will leave you there. Might be slightly shorter episode, but just a good spot to break. So if you're still with me, really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. Oh, look, There's Lily running around over in that field. But on that note, for this episode, Farmer Murphy signing off.